Hi everyone, we are back and we are ready to fry our fabulous Greek donuts, or loukoumades. Right, it's been about an hour and 15 minutes since we put our donuts, or our donut batter, into rest. So, I'm going to tell you what you need for this next step, and then we can check on our donut batter and see how it's getting on. Now, you will need your pan that I told you about. Look, I've got a new pan. Jim brought back new pans from the shop. So you need a pan. I'm using a small frying pan, saucepan, not frying pan, saucepan, and I filled it just over halfway with our vegetable oil. Now I want you to get that onto your hob and start to heat it up, because it takes about 10 minutes for the oil to heat up to the temperature we need. So get your hob on, a nice high heat, and you want your oil to be raising its temperature quite high. So get it onto a nice high temperature and get your oil heating up in your lovely pan. The thermometer, I know not everyone's going to have a thermometer, so don't panic. I'm going to show you a couple of tips on how to know that your oil is ready to fry, so don't panic about that, but I do have my thermometer in there, so if you have one, feel free to use it. You'll know it's at the right temperature, because most thermometers actually say deep frying temperature, so it's about 190 degrees. Get your oil into your saucepans and get it heating up. Now, the other thing that you will need is a cooling tray, or a plate, either one, any sort of cooling. I've used a cooling tray, but you can use any sort of tray or a plate if you like. And I've lined it with some kitchen tissue that I've just doubled over. So I've got a double layer of kitchen tissue on my cooling tray. Now once our donuts are fried, we're going to pop them on here and it's going to absorb some of that extra oil so that they're not greasy. You will also need some sort of a spoon with holes in. This is what I'm using, or a sieve, because that's how we're going to scoop out our donuts from the oil. So get yourselves a nice spoon with holes in, or a sieve. A sieve works very well if you've got like a little small sieve. That's perfect. We need little spoons for this. Got many, many, many spoons. Hi Jim. Many spoons for this recipe. We're going to be needing 2 spoons to scoop our dough into our oil. The other thing that we're going to need is a couple of things to make our topping or our glaze for our donuts. I've got a burp coming, I don't want to belch, a bit of indigestion. Right, so I'm going to be using caster sugar and cinnamon as a bit of a cinnamon sugar glaze, and I'm also going to make a proper glaze, kind of like you would get on a plain Krispy Kreme donut, that kind of lovely sugary thin glaze. So we're going to do both, so that you can choose what you would like for your donuts. Right, hopefully everyone is on board. Let's get out our batter and see how it's doing. Bring out my little unicorn from its cupboard. There. Now, if you remember, before I put my donut batter into rest, I drew a line on the bowl to see, so I could see where it had grown. I want to see where this line is now. That's where the line is, and that's where the batter is now. I mean, that's more than doubled. That is exactly what we are looking for from our batter. Let's take off our unicorn and see how it's doing. Perfect, look at that. So, your donut batter, let me tilt this down so that you can see. Your donut batter should have frothed up, be full of bubbles, full of air, and have doubled in size. Now, if your mixture hasn't doubled in size, I would put it back in to rest for another 20 minutes to half an hour, simply because this is really what we need to give our donuts air. So if your batter hasn't risen enough, cover it back over, pop it back in, and let it rise up a bit more. But this is perfect. You see all the bubbles on the surface. Now we're going to leave that to one side while we make our little glazes so that they're ready. I'm going to make a simple icing sugar glaze and mix some caster sugar and cinnamon as a little sugar coating. So first of all, don't worry Lauren, you haven't haven't missed anything. All you need to do is get your oil into your pan and get it heating up. So I put my oil into my saucepan on the hob and that's heating up. I've taken out my batter, we've had a look at it, and that's literally all we've done. I just went through some of the things that you needed. You'll need a cooling tray with some kitchen tissue on it, kitchen towel, to soak up any excess oil. You'll also need a spoon with holes in, something that we can scoop our donuts out with. Now, I'm going to make a sugar coating. You can choose either one of these, or you can try both like me, or you can leave your donuts plain and fill them. These donuts work really well filled with Nutella, would be absolutely amazing. Right, so I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of caster sugar and a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of cinnamon, depending on how much you like your cinnamon. Do a small teaspoon, oh, you can get the spoon out, of cinnamon. I might just do half for now. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Mix that all together, cinnamon, can't say that too quickly. And that is going to be a nice sugar cinnamon coating for our donuts when they're out of the oil. Perfect, that's all you need, literally, sugar and cinnamon. And you can make as much or as little of that as you want. If you want to coat all of your donuts with sugar cinnamon, then feel free. I'm also going to make a little glaze so that you can see how to make a glaze and how that works. Now, I've put in here 10 grams of butter, small amount of butter, just 10 grams, and 20 grams or 20 mils of milk. And I'm just going to heat that up so that the butter melts. This is going to be a really simple sugar glaze, very similar to what you get on a Krispy Kreme donut, that really thin, nice, crispy, lovely sugary glaze. So that was 10 grams of butter and 20 grams of milk, and I've just popped it in the microwave to melt the butter. So we don't want it too hot, we just want to melt our butter. So this is perfect, it's literally just warm enough so that the butter starts to melt. Give that a mix, and then we are going to add icing sugar to this. And we're going to make an icing sugar glaze with this. Now, we want our glaze to be relatively thick. You don't want it runny. It's a bit deceptive, glazes like this. Because our donuts are going to be hot, we need it to be quite runny. So we're going to do, quite thick, not quite runny, quite thick. So we're going to do 4 tablespoons of icing sugar to start with. That's 4 tablespoons, heaped tablespoons of icing sugar going into our milk and our butter. And we're just going to mix that. Mix it all together. We are looking for really quite a thick glaze. Now this is way too runny, I can tell already. So we're going to go in with 3 more tablespoons of icing sugar. Let's do 2 to start with. 2 more tablespoons of icing sugar. 2 more tablespoons in there for now. Should have used a bigger bowl, shouldn't I? A small little bowl. And we're going to mix that in. And again, we're just looking for a nice thick consistency, so that when we put our glaze on, it doesn't completely run off. This is the thing, you think because it's got quite a thin glaze on the donuts, I did an experiment, I was trying to make homemade Krispy Kreme donuts. I didn't quite get there, I got pretty close, but the glaze, although it's really thin on a Krispy Kreme donut, in order to get that thin glaze, you actually need your glaze mix to be relatively thick. Otherwise, it literally just rolls straight off the hot donuts. Right, now that looks about right. We could probably add another tablespoon of icing sugar to that, and it would still be a good consistency. So always, with these kind of glazes, I'd always add a little bit more icing sugar rather than less, because you want it thicker rather than runnier. In fact, let's add a little half a tablespoon. Hi everybody, we are back and we are making Greek donuts, Loukoumades. So we've prepared our dough. Our dough has been resting for an hour and a half, and we are preparing some glazes a bit of a glaze and a bit of a sugar coating, so that once our donuts are cooked, we can finish them. There we go. Glaze and cinnamon sugar. Perfect for when our donuts are finished. But we've got to get our donuts cooked, don't we? Otherwise, what's the point of the glaze? Now, there are a couple of ways that I have seen to put your donut mixture into your oil effectively. One of them is using a piping bag, piping and cutting your donuts in. Now, I find with a piping bag they come out long, a bit more like churros, and they're a bit more oddly shaped. There is one way where you scoop it up with your hand, you squeeze it out and you blob it in. Well, it just doesn't work very well. So we are going to go with the double spoon technique, which is one that I've just made up by myself. So we're going to get a spoon. Now your mixture is going to be all weird and full of air, but that's fine. Don't worry if it kind of loses a bit of its air. We're going to spoon our blobs of donut in. So you're going to get a spoonful and you're going to drop it into your oil like that. And that's all you're going to do. You're going to get a spoonful, use the edge of your bowl to help you, and blob your mixture into your oil. That's exactly what you're going to do. Now you're going to stick quite close to the surface of your oil right when you do this to make sure it doesn't splash you, because it's going to be very hot. But that is the motion that we need. We're going to scoop it with one spoon, like so. Scoop it with one spoon, scrape it with the other spoon, and it's going to drop into your oil perfectly. So have a little go at that before we get to our oil so we don't get into a pickle. Have a little go of your spoon technique, and we are going to check on our oil and make sure that it's hot enough. So join me over by the hob. I'm going to reposition you all over here. Happy Saturday everybody, hope you're all well. This lovely sunny Saturday. It's definitely a bit cooler than it has been though, hasn't it? Bit of a chilly morning. Right, let me get my camera in position before we do anything else, because it's a bit useless if you're not going to be able to see what we're doing. So, here we go. Make sure we're all on board, all in position. Great, so this is our pan of oil over here, and I'm going to put my lovely donut mixture over here. Now, I've got my tray with my tissue on, just underneath the camera there to one side, and my spoon to hand, and my oil is heating up nicely. Now once your pan of oil is to the right temperature, you want to keep it on kind of a medium heat, because we don't want to get too hot because we're going to burn our donuts. Now your oil temperature is very important when it comes to baking your donuts, frying your donuts, not baking, because too cold and your donuts are going to be greasy and raw in the middle. Too hot and they're going to burn on the outside before they cook in the middle. So we need to get a right balance of the temperature of oil. Now if you're using a thermometer, that is somewhere between 180 and 190 degrees. As long as we keep the temperature within 180 and 190 degrees, we'll be absolutely fine. Now I understand if you don't have a thermometer of any kind, this is going to be quite tricky to know when it's ready. But I'll give you a little bit of a tip on how to tell, and unfortunately it's never going to be as precise as using a thermometer, but it is going to give us enough of an idea that we're going to be able to fry our donuts without too much of a hassle. So we've got our mixture here. We've already made our glazes, they're over at the table, and we've got our cooling tray with our kitchen towel on ready. Once our donuts are fried, I'll be removing them and putting them straight onto here. So just bear that in mind. Make sure that everything you need is in your vicinity. You don't have to go looking for things, because the donuts are going to fry really quickly. Right, now I've waffled on just long enough for my oil to be at 88 degrees. Now, when your oil is at the right temperature, as soon as you drop anything in there, it's going to start to sizzle. And you want it to sizzle immediately, so we're going to test it with a bit of the dough. It's going to sizzle immediately once we've dropped the dough in. So here we go. There we go. If your oil is at a good frying temperature, whatever you drop in there is going to start to sizzle straight away. And that's what you're looking for. We've got like a teeny tiny mini mini little Loukoumades donut. I wish I knew how to pronounce that properly. I was trying to find videos of people saying it so that I wasn't saying it wrong. And this is basically what we are going to do with all of our donuts. Now, the other thing to remember about frying donuts is whatever you put into your oil is going to reduce the temperature of your oil. This is why we always want to keep it at a nice medium temperature. We don't want it to get too hot, but because we're going to be putting in a few donuts at a time, we also don't want it to cool down too much. There we go. Our little test donut done. Feel free to do a little test yourselves. If you're using the thermometer, keep an eye on the temperature and adjust your temperature accordingly so that it doesn't get too hot and it doesn't get too cold. Right, and away we go. Are we ready, everyone? We're going to use our little technique. I'm scooping the dough at the side, spoon of dough, and I'm going to use the back of the other spoon to drop the dough into the pan. And I'm going to do about 3. I don't want to do too many because, again, it's going to lower the temperature of our oil. So I'm going to put 3 in, we're going to let them fry, and then we're going to take them out and put 3 more in. Right, once your donuts are into your oil, you want to keep a little eye on them, and then we're going to flip them over after about 30 seconds. So the one that we put in first will cook quicker, obviously, so try and keep a little eye on whichever one you put in first, and flip that one over first. There's one, flip it over. Sizzling away nicely. I'm just going to lower my temperature down on my oil because I can see that temperature rising quite quickly. Now they literally only need about a minute, and once they turn into a ball, they're quite hard to flip over because all they want to do is roll around. So all you've got to do is just keep them submerged, keep submerging them and flipping them, resubmerging them into the oil until they are a nice golden brown colour. And then we're going to lift them out, just like that, shake off the oil, lift them out onto our tray with our kitchen tissue on. Look how oddly shaped they are. But that is the charm. Ah! Oh my God, I've lost one. Come back. That is the charm of these little donuts. They are strangely shaped, but lovely and light and fluffy. Right, let's go again. I'm going to try putting 4 in this time. Try and get them as round as I can. Right, drop in our dough into the oil. You just kind of got to, it's a bit of practice with this oil blobbing. I'm sure if you know how to make like a perfect quenelle with a spoon, you can get them pretty round. I, however, do not, so they're going to be oddly shaped, but it doesn't matter because they're going to taste absolutely amazing. Now again, keep them moving, flip them over in your oil after a few seconds. One side's going to cook, and then we're going to flip them over. Look at those ones, them two look like aliens. Our alien donuts. I tasted the little test one that I made, and it's delicious. Because the batter is so wet and runny, it makes for a really, really soft donut. When you make traditional donuts, the dough is a little bit firmer and it kind of dries a little bit, which makes for a bit of a, not heavier, but a bit of a denser kind of donut. These are really, really, really light and really soft. Keep submerging your blobs, your strange alien looking donuts into your oil. You want them a nice golden brown, but you're just going to have to do this by eye because it depends entirely on the temperature of your oil. So we just want to keep them moving, make sure that no one side of your donut is having longer under the oil than the other. Keep an eye on them and check for a nice golden brown. I think that one is done. Nice golden colour on there, we don't want them to be too dark. That one's done, look. Delicious. Take out our aliens. Those edge bits are just going to be extra crispy, aren't they? It's exactly what we were meaning to do. And just keep going like this until all of your dough has been used up. Now I'm going to turn my temperature up a little bit more because mine is starting to go down in temperature again, and I'm going to do my best to try and get like a good round shape. these ones. You know how it says called a quenelle, isn't it? When they just kind of use 2 spoons to get a perfect little egg shape. That's what I'm trying to do here. Just use 2 spoons to get a perfect little egg shape of dough into my oil. Just like that. You know what? They were a lot rounder, I have to say. Shimmy them around in your oil, higher at my oil temperature. Make sure that you're keeping your oil on kind of a medium heat, because the more donuts you put in, the lower the temperature is going to go. So keep it on a nice medium heat. You'll be able to tell by how quickly your donuts are cooking. If your previous donuts only took 30 seconds to go brown and these ones are taking ages, you need to higher up the temperature on your oil a little bit. Make sure that that oil is staying nice and hot. Keep them bobbing around in the oil. Fabulous little alien balls. Look how they're so much more ball-like though. See, I'm getting better at this spooning. See, I did try it with the old piping bag the once. That's an unruly one, look, it doesn't want to flip over. That's the one that we want to kind of, I'm going to flip it over and use my spoon to hold it down in the oil so that the other side gets cooked. Unruly little donut balls. Yeah, I used the piping bag, but I ended up with kind of strings of donut, which just was not what I was looking for. And then much harder to fill. If you want to fill your donuts, you really need a nice round shaped donut. These ones are bobbing around all over the place. I can't get them to cook the other side. Right. There we go. Whoa, whoa. But look, much more ball-like. Perfect. There we go. Bob around. Look at that one. That one's almost like a perfect little circular dumpling. Oh, we'll leave that one in to cook on the other side a little bit longer. And it's a bit of just a technique, isn't it? It's trial and error. A little bit of practice. Getting our donuts nicely round. Look at that one. That one's a lovely round shape as well. Make sure you're putting all of your donuts straight from your oil onto your kitchen tissue. This will stop them from being greasy. Whoa, try and make this into a ball. Make your dough into a little ball and then plop it into your oil. Just like that. Make your paste mixture into a ball. Plop it into the oil. Be very careful around the oil. You do not want any oil spitting on you because it's going to be crazy, crazy hot and it will burn like you would not believe. There we go. I'm doing 4 at a time, but I think if you were getting really, really good at your spooning technique, you could probably throw in about 5 or 6 even of your little donuts at a time. I like to put in a fewer so that I can keep an eye on them as they're cooking, because if you have too many in there you're going to get a bit overwhelmed trying to keep them all the same colour. So just do what feels comfortable for you, making sure you're keeping them all moving so that all sides of your donuts are getting nice and brown. Oh, you know what? I haven't looked at my comments in a while. My laptop's over there. How's everyone getting on? Happy Saturday afternoon, everyone. I quite like doing the bit of an earlier slot on a Saturday. It's only ever when we do bread or when we do things that need a bit of rest time or proving or anything. But it's quite nice because then the rest of the afternoon is spent in the garden with a beverage. Cocktail hour is 3 PM on a Saturday, everyone. Says me. New routine, and you will have some lovely donuts to eat with your cocktails. Cocktail donuts, you'll have to have like some sort of ice cream sundae with Baileys or something like that. Right, carry on with this process. It's a bit time consuming frying your donuts, but it's definitely worthwhile. And again, if you have any unruly ones, just keep bobbing them back into the water, into the oil, because they will cook evenly eventually when they're all submerged. And to be fair, the bouncier they are, the better, because it means that they're nice and airy inside and light. Keep an eye on that colour, make sure they're not getting too dark. We do not want to over fry and overcook our donuts. Don't want them to be burnt. wouldn't think it, but they can burn in here. I've seen donuts go very black. Right, now. Dun, 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 keep going with this. You could potentially save your dough as well if you wanted. If you didn't want to cook all of your donuts all in one go, I reckon you could probably save it for a day in the fridge. I don't think you could freeze it. It's a bit of a runny dough for freezing, but you could, let's say you were having a dinner party or something like that, you could prepare your dough earlier in the day, then leave it in the fridge to prove slowly, and then cook them fresh for your guests. All you would have to do is take them out of the fridge a bit earlier, let them come up to kind of room temperature before you started frying them. Look, I've gone rogue there, I've gone 5 in. It's 5 in now. They're bobbing around, wonderful. 5 little donut aliens bobbing away. It does lower the temperature of your oil though, so bear that in mind. Keep it on a good medium to high heat if you're adding more donuts in, to make sure that the temperature doesn't drop down. I'm going to try a bit. Oh, they're lovely and soft. Flip those around. Oh, it tastes really good. I'm going to try one. Oh, they're lovely. Really soft in the middle. Delicious. Right. Keep them frying away. Just hiring up the temperature on mine a little bit, because it has gone a bit cool. There we go. These ones remind me of like little, they've got like little blobs on them that look like legs. They look like really chubby little hippos or something. Hippopotami. Or cooking in a little, there are lots of hippopotami all in a little hippopotamus hot tub. See, little hippopotamus legs on that one. Ta-da, that one's got a whole neck and all. Very strangely shaped donuts. You can make these quite small as well. I wouldn't make them too big because of the sloppiness of our batter. If you make them too big, it's going to take too long for you to cook them properly and they're going to get greasy. So I wouldn't make them any bigger than a tablespoon size. Feel free to make them smaller though. Oh, lovely. Right. We'll see if I can get 6 in there this time. Are you ready? Let's go. Speed spooning. 1. Oh my god, that one's going to be so weird shaped. 2. Ah! Oh, shouldn't rush. 3. We're nearly done though. 4. That's going to be an alien one as well. Let's try and make this one as round as possible. Lovely round. 5. And a teeny tiny little blob one. Get a little one in there. 6. Woo! 6 donuts in there. Yes, okay, they are very strangely shaped, but they're donuts. They're in. One of them kind of looks like a pear. Oh, that one's very round. Oh yes, pleased with that one. See, the rounder they are, the less likely they are to want to flip around. They tend to bob out of the surface of the oil quite well. Now, this is a good thing to show you as well. If you've made some a lot smaller than others, keep an eye on the little ones because they are cooked quicker being smaller. So keep an eye on your little ones. Make sure that they don't over fry in your oil. Yeah, see, I think 6 was too many. It's become like a free-for-all in the pan now. They're all just bobbing around, fighting for position. And my lovely round ones are not behaving and will not stay under the oil. Stay down! Looking good though. And I think we've probably only got about 2 or 3 left in our batter. So we're almost done. Right, I'm going to get that little one out. He's done. The tiny baby one. Keep an eye on our other oddly shaped ones because we know they went in first. Oddly shaped one. That's another oddly shaped one. Leave our round ones a little bit longer. That one's getting a bit too brown. There we go. Pop them out onto your kitchen tissue. And then all that is left to do, once we've fried them all, is to glaze them. So let's get our final ones in there. Don't waste any of your batter, just scoop it up and drop it in. Even if they're only tiny, make sure you're scooping up all of that batter. That's it. Make it into a ball on your spoon and drop it in. 2. We're done. Those are our last 2 donuts. I'm going to pop these ones over. Oh, don't roll off. Where are you going? Pop them over here so that I can show you the glazing process. Keep an eye on these 2 while they fry. And we're done with our donuts and ready to glaze. I can go back and say hello to you all, make sure you're all doing alright. I'll hold these down under the surface. Make sure they cook up alright. And then we are ready to glaze. Simple as that. I remember the first time I made donuts thinking that it was the hardest thing ever. The first time I made donuts I used really old yeast that had gone off, and so by the time it got ready to fry them they hadn't risen at all. I powered through and thought, oh well, I'm sure they'll still work, and they really didn't. I ended up with like little fried bits of rock. So it's one of those things that's a very long process, so if it doesn't work it's miserable because you've spent hours trying to do it. Right, there we go, our donuts are done. Let's try and scoop them both out in one go. Get a little bit of kitchen tissue so I don't drip oil everywhere. Okay, and we can come back over here. Right, come with me everyone, come with me. We're coming back to our original position. Pride of place here in the kitchen. Ta-da! Right. Turn your oil off and let it cool down. Now your oil you can keep, so once it's completely cool you can decant it back into your oil bottle and keep that oil. If you like to make these kind of things, donuts and stuff like that, keep the oil and you can use it again and again. It's quite hard to dispose of old oil. I wouldn't put it down your drains and things because it's going to clog up your drains and be horrendous. Right, so first thing, which is really, really easy, is sugar coated, and all you do, I get a little plate out to put them on. Here's my new plate. Look what I got for my lovely sister. I know you're not going to be able to read this, but it says Queen of Cakes, Sophia. This is what I'm going to use to put my donuts on. Let's give it a little bit of a clean. Make sure it's all clean, and I will display my freshly made donuts on there. Right, so coat them in sugar, just like that. You can do this while they're still warm. Now, if your donuts are done correctly, they should be a little bit crisp, but quite soft to the touch. So when you touch them, they should be really quite soft. They've got a crispy skin, but really, really soft on the inside. There we go. Roll some in sugar. I'm going to get some oddly shaped ones as well, dipped in sugar. And then to glaze them, obviously very simple as well, but it's good to have a little look. I'm going to break this one in half so you can see as well. So this is our donut. Are we ready? Oh. Lovely. That. Really, really soft. Super light texture. Tastes amazing. Love donuts. Right, so glaze. What we're going to do, shuffle our donuts up to one end. remove some of our tissue paper. Let's coat some of these in sugar, because that sugar coating is really nice. Cinnamon sugar. I mean, they're perfect just like that. Hot, fresh, hot little donuts covered in cinnamon and sugar. What more could you ask for? You can fill them as well. So if you want to fill them, I would wait until they're completely cold and then cut a little hole with a little knife, something like that, and fill them up with whatever you like. Nutella. Nutella would work really, really well, but you could use a creme patisserie, you could use a custard, you could use anything really. A chocolate ganache maybe, that would be nice. I wouldn't eat the rest of this one, because I can. Sublime. Right then. Mine, definitely not ball shaped, but tastes amazing. Right, now, we're going to put, should we put something under this as well? To catch the dribbles. My OCD nuts are saying that I do not want sticky sugar all over the kitchen surface. Okay, now, your glaze that we whipped up. Oh, mine's dried out ever so slightly. Do I want to put a little, I'll put a tiny bit of milk in there. If your sugar glaze, like mine, has dried out ever so slightly, just put a tiny drizzle of milk in there, not too much, because again, we want it quite thick. And then all we're going to do is pour it, spoon it, onto the top of our donut and just let it drop down the edges. Because the donut is warm, it's going to look really thick to start with, but because our donut is warm, most of this is going to slide right off. So, woo! So it will be a thin glaze, because most of it is going to slide right off. There we go. It's already doing it, sliding off. I mean, again, it's kind of to your taste. If you do want like thicker glaze, then feel free to put a bit of extra icing sugar in there. If you want it to be a much thinner glaze, to be honest, this is a good thickness. I mean, you can see here how thick it was when I first put it on, and it's already completely disappearing. And that is what happens because the donut's warm, so it's going to make the glaze runnier, make it slide off a little bit. Let's glaze a couple more. Traditionally, these donuts are served with a syrup. So they are served with a honey, lemon and rose water syrup. So if you want to make them a bit more traditionally, you can whip up a really easy syrup by putting a few tablespoons of honey, a couple of tablespoons of sugar and some water in a pan and warming it up until the sugar dissolves. Look at that, looks nice. Oh, sugary glaze. There, your donuts are done. Tastes good. Wow, wow. That went a bit better than the apple upside down cake did. Woo! Amazing. And there you have it. Keep coating your donuts. Sugary ones, glazed ones, however you want to decorate your donuts, feel free. Send me some pictures of them. But you are done. It's only 3:10. We've done it, look. Look at that. I'm going to continue to glaze mine because that was amazing. And I'm going to see if I've got any chocolate in the fridge, and I might cover a few in chocolate as well, why not? Right, thank you for watching. That was more of a success than I thought. Remember, next week, oh, I best tilt this up so you can see my face. Don't forget, next week we are baking birthday cakes for Captain Tom Moore. fabulous Captain Tom. So if you would like to join in with that, it will be on Monday. I know when I first posted the recipes up, I said it was going to be Tuesday, but I've moved it to Monday to give us time to make some little messages. So if you want to get involved with that, all you need to do is bake along on Monday. Once you've made your wonderful birthday cake for Captain Tom, send me a little video wishing him happy birthday with your cake. And that is absolutely all it is. You don't have to say any more. Literally just hold up your cake, happy birthday Tom, send it over to me, and I will send it on so that they can be made into one long video of messages and be given to Captain Tom as a nice birthday present. So if you would like to bake along and make a birthday cake for Captain Tom, we'll be making a honey and walnut, no, coffee and walnut cake on Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. So join me then, we'll have another fun bake. Nothing set on fire, we're doing good everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, enjoy your Saturday night, and I will see you all on Monday. Love you all, thank you for watching. Bye!